So, yeah, so I stopped promoting who I was going to interview just based upon the fact that like people don't end up coming. It's embarrassing. And so when I like after I interview people, then I just share the video. I just share the open mic and then I'd be like, interview, so on and so forth. So um not like we started now, but it's like the program is not gonna start till like 7:45. And so it's just hard to like just start it at 7:45 because there's so much stuff to set up, like the live YouTube, um, and the and a radio station. So I just come do it early, let it play for a few minutes before, and then I'll come and be like, "Hey, how y'all
Yeah.
doing?
Test, test, 1, 2, 3, huh?
Check, check. Get it up. Yeah, let me hear you now. Everybody wanna rock what? Let's get it.
See in the hills.
Yo, I got into an argument with this woman today, yo. Like,
Uh-oh.
you know what's funny?
There you go again. You and getting in arguments with women. What is that about?
I get an argument with men and women, man. It ain't just with women, you
What,
know.
what what happened? What y'all fight? What y'all tussling about?
Nah, she was like talking about she don't get with guys with no teeth and stuff like that, and you know that they're funky and all this and that. And I'm like, that's not even true. Like, I was like, yo, there's so many men who have like gotten in accidents on their job trying to impress women, trying to like take care of the homes and stuff like that, and gotten their teeth knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Or gotten in accidents and gotten their teeth knocked out, and you're just assuming it's because they don't have, good personal hygiene. I'm like, so you get with a guy who has nice hygiene, who looks good and all that, but they treat
No,
you like
that appears to have good hygiene.
yeah, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
and treat you like trash. Like you stay with them, like what? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, "Oh, you're like Pierce Morgan." I'm like, "What?" Oh, so now,
Depending on their self-esteem is whether they stay with them or not.
yeah, I'll go.
So it seems like she has a pretty low one if she's riding so much on another person's outer appearance versus how they treat her and how their heart and their minds are.
And you know what's funny? Like I forgot that like I had like flirted with her. Like I sent the message to her because she looks good. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
She's like, "Oh, you're mad because I didn't respond to you." I'm like, "Actually, no." I was like, "Actually, um, I was like, actually, no. Um, I didn't know that you were shallow when I flirted with you." Like, and she was like, "Oh, you're rejected." I'm like, "Thank you." Like, I'm
Oh,
glad.
really? She like trying to shut you down just because
Yeah, like, yo, I'm like,
she don't want to have nobody disagreeing with her. Huh?
you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, like, thank you very much. Like, I appreciate you dissing me. Like, thank you. I'm so glad. Like, I do
Take care of
not
it early.
I do not have to go through experience of learning what a horrible person you are. Like,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, thank you. I'm glad. Like, yes, you look good. I admit that. You look absolutely gorgeous.
Mhm.
But your soul is like freaking dead.
Mhm.
Like like
There's a lot of dead souls walking around here. Some of them you know, and some of them don't even know they dead. That's the scary part. And
for
those are
real.
the scariest ones, I think. The ones that don't even realize it. And she could be one. She might think she's high and mighty to have such a high standard for one's dental plan, I guess. She front money or something? Is that what she's saying? She fronting money?
I don't know what she do, man.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of things I would be asking.
What,
If that's what she's so, if that's what's so important to her.
what would you ask her? What would
Like,
you ask her?
huh?
What would you ask her?
I said, is she fronting money? She's so concerned about it.
Wait, is she? I didn't get it. Did she what?
Is she fronting money if she's so concerned about your dental hygiene?
Oh, word.
Is she from? Hey, I looked it up. This da 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 da. Half is this much. You got that? Because you seem like you so concerned. Then see where she goes with that. But I mean, that's just how bold people are to say such a thing. That's sad. That's weird. Well, how are you in relations to her? Like, are you collaborating with her or
Oh,
something?
absolutely not. I wouldn't collaborate with anybody like this.
Oh, okay. So she's just a audience or a audience.
Nah, nah, I was in a Facebook group, and it's funny because like whenever she comes at me with something, I'll just be like she'd be like, "Oh, you're just bitter and mad." I'm like, "Yo, you know what? You're right." She's like, "Yo, you got issues." I was like, "You're right. I
Yeah.
do have issues. There's people like you I got issues with."
Amen.
And then I was like, "Yo," she's like, "Well, if you need a therapist, I'll give you one." I was like, "No,
Wow.
fronting your true ugliness is my therapy."
Yes. Hunting it, slaying it, and putting it to fucking bed.
Yeah,
That is my therapy. I love it.
yeah.
Woo. Yes. What when you say that, what's funny? I was squirming this, like, I think it was semester of 2020, the many weird things that happened. I went through this class called stress management, and apparently it supposedly teaches you how to, let things go or whatever, the situation. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't they have a class for the assholes like that fucking girl? You know what I mean? Instead of us having to deal with it, you know,
That's a good question, man. I truly don't even know.
you know what I mean? They should have a class for that. How not to be an asshole. I don't know.
Or try not to cuss, young lady.
I'm sorry. How not to be um, a disappointment to society. I don't know.
I love you, Sibby.
I don't know. You too.
Your wife is like, I bet you he better not say that. You know, I'll punch him in his eye. Like, my bad, I'm sorry.
Oh, of course not. There's platonic love, is there not? Are you not? Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've known you for. I've had feelings for you since I've seen you at the wine. You know that.
I, I don't know what to say. I'm blushing right now.
Oh, stop it.
My cheeks are bright red. I feel like
If
Rudolph.
only, but I'm sure they are. But yeah, yeah. Cool beans though. It's been
Hold
a
on,
minute, huh?
Sib. We just got somebody logged in,
Oh,
and
Ty. Oh, yeah.
I
Sorry.
want to pronounce. I want to pronounce her name, but I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you pronounce your name for me?
It's T.
T.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
T like T-bone steak, like iced tea.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for logging in. I appreciate it.
Hi, T.
Yeah. Hi. And
Sippy
yours
here,
and Sippy.
but my real I do have another name that I go
Let
by.
me go in the
Can you see it?
second.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't have
Can
but
you
yeah.
guys hear me
Nice
on
to meet
my
you. Got
YouTube?
you. Welcome.
Okay. I need to do a mic check on one.
Hey, Sippy, you gonna get on camera?
Oh, yeah, I can do that. I am well prepared. Give me 1 second. Let me hit the button. Please do
Yeah.
not pay attention to the background. Apparently, I have laundry to fold on
Finally.
my to-do
There
list.
you are.
Hi, sorry. I'm a mess.
Hi. Wow, I'm
Conscious.
super close.
So
Let me
self-conscious. Oh, like that 6 million, is it million or $1 billion man say?
6. I don't even know anymore. It's been so long. All right, so
What are you guys talking about?
let
In
me
my
go over
hair and all chat.
let me go over the rules real quick. Um, so when you're not speaking, mute your mic because it causes echoes. Um, that's pretty much the biggest rule. Try not to cuss because this is a family friendly venue. Um,
She's just being passionate, you know?
Oh,
It
I can't be
happens.
passionate tonight.
No,
No,
I
I have to
love
be robotic.
I love Sippy. And here's the thing, right? When people
Rehearse words before they come out of mouth. Got it.
when people start cussing and I start cussing, and it's just all a wrap. And it's
Then
like,
we all grown folk up in here. That's all. It's all grown folk up in here. That's all. But it's a cool. We can do it. I could be robotic.
Sometimes,
Don't worry.
no,
Are
no,
you
sometimes
nervous?
you just have to let it slip every now and then to show that
No, I
you are who
can't.
you are, you
I have been checked. I'm in the
know?
military. Yes, sir. Sir.
so tonight I'm going to be interviewing T,
See,
T
and
T.
and
I
Vera Page. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna go right into your interview at 8 o'clock. T.
8 o'clock. Eight
Yeah.
o'clock your time, right? Okay.
Yes. So it's about like 15 minutes.
Okay.
Um. So Jerry was supposed to hop on, but he's not here. So he was supposed to read about what's her name? Shirley Chisholm, in honor of Black women, in honor of Women's History Month.
Women's
So
history.
after he comes on, whenever he gets here, we'll have him read about Shirley Chisholm. Supposed to be doing something right now, and I forgot. See, Sippy, you like.
What am I doing? I'm just listening to you. I'm sorry. T.
See,
I'm
Sippy.
already doing it. Urgh.
Girl, you're not doing anything wrong. Just let it out.
I'm just gonna turn my video off, and I'm just gonna mute
No, you can't.
Remember
You
that
can't.
corner I told you about, Maurice? I'm gonna
Yeah,
go stand in it. Remember? Bye.
No, Sippy, come back.
no, come on, Sippy, go.
Um,
Oh, Sippy, where you go?
All
Sippy,
yeah,
right,
you.
right here. I'm just being dramatic.
We want to see
Sippy,
your beautiful smile, so you can't go anywhere.
don't let me go to my deep voice. Sippy, where you go?
I told y'all be over there.
T, I try my best to have a lot of fun in here.
I think that's awesome. You don't even
Some,
have to explain it. I mean,
sometimes,
being able to carry like a fluid
Dramatic.
conversation, having fun is the best part.
sometimes, sometimes I'm on with it, and sometimes I miss. But so T, if you could send me a little bio, that'd be dope. Cause once this is all done, um, I'm gonna
The
put it
bio
out.
right now?
No, when you're done.
Oh, I'm like, okay.
So, by the way, so I looked at
Homework, girl. Homework. Do that homework.
and Sippy, I'm gonna put a link to her work, what she does to
Oh,
make.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean,
Check
I
it.
could just Google her, but I don't know. Would that be stalkerish?
You can Google me, but you probably can't find me because there's like my name is like a Jane Smith in the Vietnamese community.
Oh,
So it's kind of like how many millions of us
I
would
mean, I wish I would. I wish I could be. I wish I could have that covert disguise.
the incognito? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Although
just
I have to
I just
say
have to
recently I've
use
been
take my
speaking
name
up.
down. That's all I can do.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bio of me, but I can definitely send you something.
I
Okay.
mean, that's up to you if you feel open. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
it's already
the,
out there,
the host.
so
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And
Oh,
I
absolutely.
caller.
wait, is this Jerry? Caller two? Hello, caller two. Caller two.
Yeah, this is Jerry, just checking in with y'all.
Jerry's on time. Holy cow. Well,
Well, you threatened me. You said if I wasn't on time, man, I couldn't join the meeting here.
all right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna Jerry, you're gonna do your reading, but give me 1 second, because you know I gotta do the weather. And after I do the weather, we're gonna go with Jerry. He's gonna is going to go into the reading of Shirley Chisholm, celebrating Women's History Month. And then from there, we're going to start off with an interview with T. And then we're going to read some poetry. Jerry, did you finish your poem, bro?
No, I did not.
Jerry. Oh, my Lord, Jerry. All right. Love you, man. So I want to say I invited T tonight and Vera tonight because as we know about the Asian women being targeted, and it's not really going to matter if they're from China, Japan, or Vietnamese descendant because most people that are targeting them don't even know where they're from. They just probably think they're all from China, and which is really ridiculous. But the bigger issue is that, you know, there's been I'm just going to mute everybody. The bigger issue here that, you know, we'll be addressing moving forward is the issue between Black and Asian communities, right? We're going to be having open and candid discussions to work to build a bridge between our communities. I mean, let's face it, not all Black people get along. I mean, just before I came out here, I was arguing with a Black woman in the group for like just dissing, you know, men with no teeth, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like what? So I mean, the reality is that like we're all not going to get along, but we can do better, right? And with the oppression that, you know, many people from Asian communities feel in this country and go through in this country, with the oppression that Black people go through this country, it doesn't make sense for us to be hating each other, you know. And so this is an attempt to open up the floodgates, you know, to feel all that ugliness and nastiness and let it go and let it out and work on building bridges. And so with that, I want to welcome you all to Poetic Recovery. Today, let's see, tonight is 21 degrees. Northwest winds, 7 miles per hour, clear skies. Tomorrow, high is going to be 56, low 27. It's going to be sunny. The sun is going to be dancing. 1% chance of rain, west northwest, 11 miles per hour. That is the wind. And Sunday, high 61 degrees. Oh, I'm going to be outside soaking up my vitamin D. It's going to be sunny. The sun is dancing again. 5% chance of rain, north winds 5 miles per hour. If you want the rest for the week, go to weather.com or wherever you might get the weather and be ready for what's to come. Although many times the weather tells you what the weather is going to be and it doesn't happen. But that's the weather. Hey, Jerry, welcome. How you doing, brother? Yep,
I'm doing good.
That's good. How was your week?
My week was good. My week went well.
Anything special happen? Did you win the lottery? Send me money in the mail? Anything like that?
Well, the special things that happened were really just my awareness of how blessed I am in general, you know, so kind of like gratitude, different points during the week, you know, I kind of tapped into another level of gratitude, you know, so it wasn't that anything particular happened. It's just that I kind of just got into a deeper understanding of, of how blessed I am. So
That's
it
good.
was a good week. It was a very good week.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. What about you, Sippy? How was your week? You're on mute.
My week was, it was I had some good days, some bad days, like I told you a little earlier. But good days, I had some good things happen too, where I feel like, you know, I have reasons to, you know, be happy, be alive, not so much think about the negative stuff, but negative stuff seems to come in my head, but I try to chase it out. Sometimes that requires, you know, what you call it, becoming a shopaholic, which isn't good, but it helps.
Does exercising help?
No, not for me. Eating ice cream helps. Why are you laughing at me? I'm for real.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Oh my God, man. I discovered Tillamook up here. Tillamook ice cream and cheese. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you ever seen like Facebook posts when people say they like go in a refrigerator like at 3 a.m, like just put their hand in there like shredded cheese and like pop some in their mouth. Dude, I do that. Like so yummy. Their cheese is the best. It's like better than any other state I ever been in for their cheese and their dairy product. Even though they're the worst for your digestive system. Don't get me wrong. Don't do it. If you're not addicted to it, don't get addicted to it. It tears you up, but it's delicious. And that's all I gotta say about that. But yeah,
I think of all the escapes that people can use and find, I don't think that's a bad escape at all. So
thank you. I appreciate it. I
thank
do
you.
want to do more evil stuff though, but I'm not.
That's good. Well,
Because they're doing evil stuff to me, and I'm really upset about it.
I'm glad you're not responding the evil way because it'd be
I did steal a lighter today.
we can't get you on Facebook if you're in
Did you
prison.
hear me?
Yes, you're lighter today.
No, I stole a lighter today.
You stole a lighter.
Mm-hmm.
You stole a. You know what?
Yep, sure it is.
As long as you don't go and starting grass fires, you're okay.
Who knows what's next? Who knows?
You can also
If
sneak
they
and
keep hitting me, I'm gonna start hitting back. That's all I'm gonna say.
you can also sneak and put it back if it's bothering you.
For what? Do they sneak and put my money back when they scamming the out of me right in front of my face? Do they do that? No, they don't. They say we ain't giving you nothing back. Have a good life.
Is this what your landlord?
I don't want to talk about them.
All right, all right, all right, all right. We'll get to you next week.
Yeah, next week. But I had a good week though. I shopped. Yay!
I'm glad you had a good experience shopping. T, how you doing? How was your week?
Hey, Maurice. It was an emotionally charged week. There was a lot happening in social media, in media, in just like getting a lot of people charged up, especially within the Asian community. But you have to really just try to see the light at the end of the tunnel and focus on the purpose behind it. And
I'm sorry, your voice is cutting out, T.
uniting
I'm not sure.
versus dividing,
Okay.
So we want to focus on not spreading hate, and it starts with the individual. So for me, I have to really be mindful and not think about like who did what, when, and how. More of like, okay, how can we change this so that it doesn't happen again? So I think that's kind of where my energy is going. I'm with you, Sippy, on the whole shopping thing because I sometimes feel like shop therapy is just gonna take your mind away from any negativity. It definitely does for me as well. So I'm with you, girl. I just came back from shopping, so totally get it. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I am at this week. I think it's getting a little bit better, but there was a lot of news that we had to kind of process, not with just a shooting, but also elderly beatings on the street, unprovoked beatings. So I think like, and for myself, I'm in Southern California, so it's 70 degrees here, and I think, okay, you know what? It's sunny and beautiful. Let's just focus on that. So yeah, so good. So not too bad.
I'm gonna open up a foundation so all the shopaholics can ship the excess to my foundation, and we'll just resell it on. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking for something in that email when you were telling us to join you. I was like, where is it? He must have. Nope, there's nothing in there.
So you guys can send me excess items and then we can just resell it on Facebook, Craigslist. But anyway, so Jerry, were you able to get the Shirley, look up the information on Shirley Chisholm?
Absolutely.
All right, so go ahead. I'm gonna let you go ahead and read, and then we're gonna go on an interview with T.
Okay. All right. And so, yeah, I kind of immersed myself in her life. So I'm gonna do this really just kind of like not like reading it from a text. So anyway, Shirley Chisholm. She is a African American woman who basically came from a father who was from Barbados and a mother who was from the country of Guyana. So she was an island girl, essentially, and she was born in New York City in 1924, and she died in Florida in the year 2005. Shirley Chisholm, again, was born in New York, but was sent in 1929. She was sent to live with her grandmother in Barbados. So she spent her formative years, 1929 to 1934, living in Barbados, and that's where she got her early schooling. At which point she moved back to New York City. So she became the first Black woman elected to the United States Congress. That was in 1968. She served 7 terms as a congresswoman from 68 to 1983. She left Congress because her husband had an accident, and she basically retired from Congress to be able to take care of him. So Shirley Chisholm, she was an educated woman. She got earned her bachelor's degree at Brooklyn College, and that was in education. It was a teacher's college at that time. She later went back to school, also in New York City, at Columbia. She earned her master's degree at Columbia, and that master's was also in education. And that became really her specialty, so to speak. She became very versed in the system, the education system, and she worked that system in New York City. So she was elected to Congress in 1968, and she did that through the rough and tumble political climate in New York City. A lot of that was within the Black community. And so, so she learned to play hardball politically. And then when she got to Congress, she took a lot of heat. Her theme was unbought and unbossed. That was her campaign theme for all the terms that she ran. That's even what's on her tombstone, unbought and unbossed. So in Congress, she took some heat from the Black community because she aligned with folks who were considered racist, folks from the other side of the aisle, more specifically with Hale Boggs, George Wallace, Bob Dole. But what happened was that her alliance with those people, and it wasn't really an alliance, it was just her connecting with them to get stuff done, resulted in some major gains for Black folks. Specifically, Hale Boggs, he was the Speaker of the House, and she voted for him during that election as Speaker. And he was running against John Conyers, a very popular Black congressman from Detroit or from Michigan. Anyway, as a result of her supporting Hale Boggs, she was then appointed to the education committee, which is where her heart was. And as a result of that, she was able to put a lot of things into place that benefited poor folks as well as Black people and women. George Wallace, he got shot. I forget what year it was, but she went to visit him at his hospital, and that didn't go over well with the Black Congressional Congress or with the Black community in general. But she went to visit him, and as a result of that, not that specific visit, but as a result of her reaching out to him, she then got support from him that resulted in establishing a minimum wage for domestic workers, establishing a federal law for minimum wage for domestic workers. She also connected with Bob Dole, who was a Republican, and as a result of her alliance with him, she was able to parlay the food stamp program into what's become known as the WIC, the Women, Infants, and Children's Program, and a lot of expanded food and nutrition programs for inner city people. And so she basically came in with her own mind, her own agenda, and she basically she didn't have any problem in crossing the aisle and working with people that had very, very different viewpoints. She later, after she retired from Congress, she came to Massachusetts, to Mount Holyoke College, where she was she had taken a post as what they call a Purington professor, which is basically it's a post that allows visiting scholars to come to the college and teach, but they're not anchored to any specific department. So they can basically teach classes in an interdisciplinary manner. She then, her other claim to fame is that she was the first Black woman to actually run for president. This was in 1972. She mounted a campaign for the presidency of the United States. And obviously she didn't win it, but she established herself as a force to be reckoned with. And she was ultimately elected to, or inducted, I should say, into the Women's Hall of Fame in Seneca Falls, New York. And so I would welcome people to, if you're not familiar with Shirley Chisholm, to look into her, because there's a lot more than I could cover in just the time that I have here. But anyway, I guess in closing, I just like to say that I chose her because she was a Black woman who was very independent, and her accomplishments throughout her life essentially benefited the race. They benefited Black folks, they benefited women, they benefited people, poor people. So she actually made a difference in many, many lives, and that's why I chose to focus on her for Women's History Month. And
Thank you.
and that's what I got. Yep.
Thank you very much, Jerry. I really appreciate that. I do want to say something that, so actually the first Black woman to run for president was Charlene Mitchell. And that was in she ran on a communist party, on a communist ticket. And that's why she's not really recognized by the Democratic and Republican Party. But Charlene Mitchell was actually the first Black woman to run for president. July 4th, 1968. And then after her was Shirley Chisholm. But And the reason why I say that is that we have to recognize Black people whatever party they're at for making strides that they've made. We can't like follow the whole two-party ideology where we like cancel people because they're not part of those parties. I just wanted to recognize that. Shirley Chisholm was definitely a force to be reckoned with, an amazing, an incredible Black woman who did so much, especially being in the Democratic Party. And back in those days, oh man, you know, so my hat's off to Shirley Chisholm. And thank you so much for bringing her up to the forefront and highlighting her today, Jerry. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Tonight we have T. How do I pronounce your name? Nugent, your last name?
You know, it's actually win, like a win-win
Oh my
situation.
God, let me go.
Yeah, I know. That's why we'll always be winning, you know? So T win. I know everybody wants to pronounce every single letter, but yeah, just win.
Word, because I was looking, I was like, I'm not even gonna say what I was thinking at first, because
It's all right. We've had worse. We've had Nugayan, Nuguyan, Nugun.
that's what I was gonna say, Nagugan.
I
Like
don't know.
Nagu.
Yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming to the group tonight. I really appreciate it. I was looking at the you sent me your Instagram. Was it Go Green? Go Green
Go
Dress?
green dress.
Can you let us know like what is that about?
Yeah, so go green dress. You know, as a female, um, traveling solo or trekking or backpacking or just doing anything by yourself, it can be very dangerous. So one of the things that I like to do, and it's my passion, is traveling and being outdoors. And I wanted to create like an account that promotes the beauty of someone who's in nature, as well as like sharing the beauty of nature and the beauty of travel, and then also promoting positive messages by encouraging people to kind of explore and be out there, especially for women who are afraid of traveling by themselves. So my Go Green dress actually started off with me finding this beautiful silk dress for $20 at a consignment store. And I took it with me on one of my hiking trips, and I wore it in front of this waterfall, and I thought, oh my God, the contrast is just amazing, right? So I decided I'm gonna take this dress everywhere. It's super lightweight. I kind of like scrunch it up, throw it in my bag. And when I get to a certain destination, I think it's beautiful. I take it out, take a picture. Usually it's only of my back because the focus is not on me as the person. It's really the focus should be on the scenery itself, whether that is in the city or in nature, whatever it is. And depending on what I'm going through, what somebody I know that's going through, or maybe the situation at hand, I kind of tailor the message based on that. So sometimes it's like a positive quote, sometimes it's sharing about traveling. So during COVID, I was kind of like going through my albums and going through some pictures I've taken on my international trips and sharing that. Sometimes it's about a message that I want to get across. So, you know, the most recent one was about stop Asian hate and hate is a virus. But I think it's just a platform for me to kind of spread kind of like the joy of being out there, but also kindness to people around who needs to really remember that, you know, it's okay to explore and just be bold and stay beautiful, but also to be smart about what you're doing and know that there's community to support you. So there's really no, there's really no like other, I guess people ask me, how come you don't ever turn around? And I said, I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about the message and the scenery that I'm in. So you're always going to get my back. And every now and then, maybe you'll get front, you know, but rarely. So.
We're going to do a presentation real quick so people can I can show them what we're looking at here. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
So I'm going through some of the pictures of you with the green dress. I'm gonna go to the top and just slowly go down to the bottom. So these are some of the places that you've been. would you like to, is there anyone in particular you'd like to point out?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to that snow picture right there, the
This one?
first snow picture, go
This one?
up one, yeah. This is me doing a trek here in Southern California. And it's in July, by the way. And little do we know, there was snow in the mountains in July. And people think we're all about beaches and sunshine all the time. But, going to this trek, it's a hard trek. And I was with a 70-year-old person who isn't as avid at trekking as I am. But, we made sure we took care of each other. And people think that it's dangerous or difficult for women, especially my size. I'm actually really small in stature. I'm like 5'2", about 110 pounds, 105 pounds on a good day.
You
So,
know, they say it only takes about 3 pounds of pressure to kill somebody. So if
yeah.
you got the skills, you'd be dangerous.
Yeah, I'm like a little ant, but it's funny because I like this picture because there's a powerful message behind me carrying this backpack that's really almost half my size and being behind this with this beautiful scenery behind me, with the skies and really just looking at that and knowing that, okay, I've conquered this. I've reached here and this is where I'm at. So these are like I'm in a bunch of different hiking groups for women, so I always try to remind them that what you can do these trips. You can be out there as long as you're smart and you convey the message to your loved ones where you're at, and you can do these things really as a woman. You don't have to have a guy with you. You don't have to have a group with you necessarily, but you just have to be smart about making choices and stuff like that. So I like that picture a lot. I like the scenery. I like the pack with it. I like me in this dress. Everybody asks, "Do you hike in a dress?" I was like, "No, I just change into it." So hiking in a dress would be very difficult.
I know earlier I asked you what type of cultural work you do, and you said you don't do any cultural work. But from what I'm looking at, you are using culture to make an incredible impact on people's lives. Um, Colors, the dress, um, and it makes people look, right, and wonder like what's going on. And especially you see the same person in the same dress like a million different places, it makes people wonder. And then they get to the root of the story and they're like, oh, right. We gotta, you know, we start to listen to the story that the things that women have to go through when hiking, the things that you all have to think about, stuff like that. So I think that's amazing, and I appreciate the work that you're doing. I want to back up and ask you, where were you born?
I actually was born in Vietnam, and I'm one of the one of the individuals that you may come across. I'm a refugee, so we fled the country in the middle of the night by boat, and basically was at sea. Our boat broke down. We were then stranded on an island for a couple months, then got rescued by another boat, then ended up being in a refugee camp. And from the moment that I left Vietnam to the time I arrived in the US, it was over almost a year and a half later. So, you know, I'm I consider myself one of the few fortunate ones. There are millions that perish at sea that you never hear their stories. And I was very lucky. I consider myself very, very lucky for that.
Thank
You
you
got
for
really
sharing.
excited when you heard that, by the way.
Can you say it again, please?
I said you got really excited when you heard that. So
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the story behind my excitement, right? So I live in Western Mass, and the white activists up here is really different. Um, so when I see Asian people, I don't know where they're from. Like I'll ask, like, "Yo, where were you born at? Like, where you from?" And we'll get into like these conversations, right? When white folks like ask the question, like, "Where you from?" They'll be like, "Why? Can I not be born in America?" And then white folks would tell us, like, don't ask Asian people where they're from. I'm like, you can't ask, but I can, you know. So, you know, and so like because I never know. I truly never know. And I like to like get to know different people, like where they're from and, different cultures and stuff like that, so I love to ask, and I don't like to assume because when I start assuming, I mess everything up. So I like to ask. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I had some questions down here that I wanted to ask, wanted to go through.
Yeah, fire away.
Who's one of your greatest influences? Well, pick two, one man, one woman. Who are your greatest
You,
influences and why?
you know, it's actually not a hard question to answer because I know who they are, but it becomes a little bit emotional because I think for me, it's my parents. And the main reason is because let me backtrack. I told you that I am a refugee, but I didn't tell you like the full story of like, you know, what happened to our family. So my dad fought with the Americans as a soldier in the Southern Army. And after Vietnam fell and everybody left, all the soldiers were rounded up and put into camp, including my dad. So when he finally got out, he had to basically, make a decision to leave. And at that time, he took my sisters, my two older sisters, him and my two older sisters left. And my mom and I stayed behind because I was too young and I was sick all the time, so I couldn't leave. We couldn't leave together, basically. So imagine leaving half your family behind just so that the other half can potentially make it, right? And every time I think of this story, I think about like, wow, like they left their family behind. And they went through this journey that they didn't know if they would survive, just to get to a country that they don't know if they'll be accepted, right? And then for us to leave later on and not know if we can even like connect with each other, because if you think about it, at that time, there's no emails, there's hardly phones. Telephones were just like a new thing at that time, you know? So you're relying on writing letters, you're relying on the system working, and you're relying on the connection somehow like making like working itself out. And then when you arrive in a new country, of course there's going to be division, there of course there's going to be hatred, racism, all of that. You experience all of that because you can't speak the language, and all you can do is work in jobs like collecting cans, collecting cardboards, picking strawberries. We did all that. And so when I arrived in the US with my mom, my dad and my sisters were living in Washington State in Olympia, Washington, actually. We survived our first winter there, and then we were like, we're getting out of here, because we don't know snow. We don't know snow in Vietnam. So we then packed everything we had into a little Datsun car and drove all the way to San Diego. Best choice ever, right? And shacked up with my aunt's family, who also had like, 5 people in the house. And we're in this house with two bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, however big it was, wasn't that big. And we just slept on the floor. We did what we can to survive. We grew up in the hood of San Diego, like talking about like just ghetto. Everybody says to me, there is no such thing as ghetto San Diego. It's like, there is, trust me. When you're waking up with gunshots, when you're waking up with ambulance and police sirens, and you're walking home from school and there's chalk outline of dead bodies, you're in the hood. There's drug dealers on the streets, like it's pretty much, it is what it is. And the community where we grew up was predominantly Hispanic, Asians, and Africans. And this is why, you had sent me a comment about your thoughts about how Asians feel about
And
African. And And I completely understand that comment, but I want to kind of debunk that just a little bit because, you know, growing up in the 80s and 90s, one of the things that you do if you have time to watch TV is see the show Cops, and all they provide you in that time is police officers chasing Africans because they're doing something wrong. Hardly did you ever see a police officer chasing a white American, right? A Caucasian male or female from that, doesn't matter. But always on TV. So growing up, I'm going to admit that my parents were like afraid of Africans. But because I went to a school of predominantly African, Asians, and Hispanics, I had friends with both the African side and the Hispanic side. And the funny thing is that oppressed people oppress others, you know? And so in my school, I actually was being bullied by the Hispanics because we were the smallest in terms of stature, in terms of people. We were taught to stay quiet, to not speak up. And, you know, I made friends with my African classmates, and they were the ones who actually protected me from getting beat up every day at school. I had a friend who walked me home every day, like in elementary school. And through these instances, and I shared it with my parents, I shared it with, you know, my mom and my dad, you know, I think that's when the whole education and the whole idea of like a stigma or the idea of like watching something on TV, that's when you know what you see on TV doesn't mean it relates to every single person. Or just because one person had a bad experience doesn't mean everyone else is like that. So, you know, my parents sacrificed a lot to get us here. They taught us to work hard. They taught us to, you know, not talk back, not cause trouble, and just put your head down and do the work and get where you need to go. And that's what we did. You know, that's what we did as a family, as an individual, as a community. I feel that's how we're taught. And I don't, I don't believe that Asians don't like Africans. I think that's where the misunderstanding is. I think that there might be some individuals who may have bad experience or who may have seen something and they themselves think that this is an entire group, entire race, entire ethnicity, when in actuality it's only a few. Small, I think, you know, for me, at least with my friends and my families, I have a rainbow of individuals in my circle. I still keep in touch with a lot of my friends from junior high, high school, and you know, I mean, I think highly of you guys in terms of a race, of ethnicity. I think that I think that, you know, when something happens to one group, whether it's white, black, red, doesn't matter, brown, it happens to all of us. And so right now, it it's um it's kind of frustrating because I see posts and I read posts and you know, people are saying like this community versus that community. I'm like, we're all humans. Like, what are you guys doing? Do you know each other's story? Do you know like what these people are doing and how they got here? And unless you're Native American, Indian, you're an immigrant and a refugee. If you're not, your parents are or your ancestors are. So we're not, you know, we're not from America. We came from somewhere else. And being born here doesn't mean that you necessarily own this land or own um, the rights to treat people a certain way. And I just think that, you know, it's very frustrating because there's so many people who go through these situations. Like when I was after college, I actually took time to go overseas to help repatriate Vietnamese refugees who were stuck, who has still been stuck after they fled the country because the borders closed, because the refugee camps closed, and they were in whatever country they were in without documentation, without rights, without health benefits, without education, trying to survive and trying to get them out of that country so that they can at least have a future. You know, imagine if that was your family, or if that was your relatives, your cousins, your aunts, and your uncles. Imagine some of the journey that you know everybody had to go through. And I know that with some of these journeys, there were cannibalism, there was pirates, there were rape and murders, and you know you don't hear about those stories. So I think that for my parents who made the conscious decision to leave their parents behind, to leave their brothers and sisters behind, just so that we can potentially have a future for ourselves, like that's definitely my heroes for sure.
I want to thank you very much for sharing your story with us, your journey. I really appreciate it. Sippy wanted to know, when you say African, are you meaning African descent of slavery, or are you meaning Africans when you were saying that like Asian people don't hate Africans? Which one are you referring to?
Honestly, when I think of Africans, you know, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I think of African Americans and Africans as well as Africans descendants of slaveries.
It depends on who you ask. To be
Right.
honest with you, it really depends on who you ask, because
What was the answer? You said they're the same?
what'd you say, Sippy?
I didn't hear her answer. You said that to her they're the same people?
No, she said when she looks at them, she looks at Africans. Can you say that again, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said when I look at Africans, to me, Africans are, you know, Africans Americans as well as Africans descendants of slaves, right? Because I have friends who are Nigerian and they were born in Nigeria and they're here in the US and they got citizenship. So would they consider themselves African or African Americans? And it really depends on what they want to consider themselves as, because I think we all may title ourselves differently. Like I'm Asian, but I could be Southeast Asian, or I could be Vietnamese Asian. Do you know what I mean? Like there's Southeast Asian, there's South Asian, and then there's a Pacific Islander. You know, there's just so many terminology, right? And not to put everybody in one bucket, but if we're going to look at it, it really depends on who you're talking to. Um, I'm just trying to shed some light on my personal experience on you know, the conversation that Maurice and I had over messaging earlier regarding the notion that Asians don't like Africans, and I don't think that's a good blanketed statement for everybody. I think it depends on the individuals who may have certain experiences. Are there people out there who may not like a certain race? Absolutely. There's vice versa, right? It's in both sides. But you know, I just want you guys to know that for me and my friends and my family, um, you know, we have had good and bad experiences with all race, but we're just like, look, like we don't look at it as this race hates or dislikes this particular group or whatever it is. So
I think that's true of a lot of people, right? Like our experiences with people. Like it's true that there's good and bad people no matter where you go. I was having conversations with some Asian friends um, earlier, and I mean it's true. I mean there's a lot of history of hatred between Asian and Black communities. You know, and I've seen uh, interracial relationship. I hate using the word race because race don't exist. I hate using that word, but interethnic relationships between Asian and Black people as well. I've seen a few. I haven't seen many. I've seen some. Um, you know, but and so we're going to have these conversations. These are going to be ongoing conversations. We're going to open up the floodgates and we're going to let it out so we can work on healing the wounds, right? So and this is not going to be the platform for that to happen, but as we move on, as we move forward down the road, I want us to have these conversations, you know, and I'm going to be inviting, you know, different people from different Asian communities to come in and have these conversations, because the reality is that when we don't have these conversations, right? In that absence of these conversations, right? In the dark, bacteria grows, right? And that bacteria eats away, right? At what good could happen, you know what I'm saying? And so we need to have these conversations. And, as I do more open mics and so on and so forth, I'm gonna be inviting Asian people in to perform with us so we can actually do something meaningful together, so that can be seen and that can be heard. So, and this is the start of that. And I really appreciate you coming and sharing your experience. I really do. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I just want to add that, thank you, Maurice, for really reaching out and asking um, for our voices. I mean, I think this is first step to uniting, all walks of life, right? And I'm with you in that I don't want it to be a division or semantics or use because, I always wonder, okay, we have blacks, whites, but Asians versus yellow. Not to say that whatever it is, right? But it's semantics, and I always look at people as people. We're humans. I mean, we should be working together in any capacity to really bring change to things that matter more, like the planet. What's going to happen if we kill this planet off? Where are we going to live? Little things like that. So, thank you so much. And I know that we had messaged each other earlier where I said that I may have to jump off the call early, but I do want to thank you and everyone on this call to kind of listen on to some of the stories. And I encourage you guys to reach out at any point in time and ask more questions. And, thank you, Sippy, for even pointing that out. What do you mean African? What is African to you? And it's one of those questions that you might not even think about. You might not even consider that by me saying the word African, it can mean one thing or the other. For someone else, it might mean something completely different, right? So it's our individual interpretations of the diction that we use to describe whatever it is that we may grow up learning or understanding. And it might be right, it might be wrong, but it's always good to have that conversation. So thank you.
We have to have these conversations amongst our own communities. I mean, in reality, like, there's some black folks who don't even accept the word African, like, because the original word for that region was Alkebulan, right? And Leo Africanus is who it was named after. And, some of us reject that, you know what I'm saying? And so it just depends on how deep down the rabbit hole we go, So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I hope you come back. It'd be great to, to see you again. And, hopefully have you do a screen share, sharing your photography with us, and have you actually, tell stories of the different pictures. That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
I would absolutely love it. I think that having the ability to have social media nowadays to share your voice and share your story or just share a story through pictures, I think it's one of the most rewarding things that we didn't get in the 90s, right? Or the 80s, or even like the early 2000s. This wasn't available, I tell people, look, I'm Asian and we don't raisin, like black don't crack. So I'm way older than you think I am, but I've lived through so many decades of things that we didn't have access to. And in the last 10 years, like technology just blew up, and now it's given us like the forum and the ability to communicate with the world. So yeah, reach out, ask any questions, follow my Go Green dress. I'd be more than happy to explain each picture if you have time to. I actually have over 10,000 pictures. But obviously it's a slow posting for me. So, but thank you again. And thank you for having this. I just hope that we could bridge the gap and bring us closer together. I love all you guys. I mean, I love what you guys are doing and the camaraderie that you are sharing and the voice that you're providing for everybody. I think it's amazing. And I think more people need to do this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have Vera Cage on. I'm running 8 minutes late for her interview. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you're welcome back anytime. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Enjoy your dinner.
Thank you.
Vera, welcome. How you doing, Vera? You're on mute, Vera.
Hi, everyone. That was worth the wait.
We we started off with a reading from Jerry, who read about Shirley Chisholm, who was one of the first Black women to run for president. Following, I hate to get names wrong, Charlene Mitchell of the Communist Party, and it was 1968. Welcome, Vera.
Hi.
One of the things that we're doing, we're highlighting Women's History Month, and so with all the things that are going on in the country right now, with people being killed in the Asian community and just so much madness going on, I want to involve different people from different communities. Last week we had Brenda Lee Cepeda, oh my Lord, from the Latino community. And next week I got to figure out who we're going to have. But I wanted to thank you for coming on. You've done tremendous work. You were one of the people who I can say, of anyone that bridges the gaps between communities, you're one of the people that I can actually say that really does that. You address real serious issues in communities. And so I also want to celebrate you as a woman, by having you come on and interviewing you, because you've just done so many great works throughout Western Mass, and Lord knows, I wouldn't be surprised if you've done work all over the world.
No, I just got my passport again, so I haven't been around the world. I'm ready to go anywhere out of here.
So I have some very offensive questions to ask you. No, they're not offensive, but where are you from? Let's start there.
It's okay. I was born in Laos, and I came here as a child. In 1980, I was 6 years old. I escaped Laos to be in a Thai refugee camp for about a year, reuniting with my dad and other siblings. And we settled in Massachusetts, and initially in Brookline at a refugee resettlement house, where I was in awe of all these big homes and these apple trees and in people's big yards, front yards, and all that stuff. My mom, her life in Laos was you would say like a middle class, and so she was used to the finer things, right? My dad was working as a customs official for the government, and when you have that takeover of a country, sometimes the people who may have more, their livelihoods are threatened, and they are so my parents decided to flee. And so that journey as a young person escaping Laos, I think as an adult, you can consider, pretty traumatic experience, but as a child, you just go through it. And so we settled in the refugee resettlement house, and then we rented an apartment in Dorchester with a lot of community aid and help. And then we had some folks from the suburbs who brought us to the suburbs of Boston. And so I did a few years in elementary school there. And then my dad saved up and bought a triple decker in Dorchester for like under 80,000. And it was a 3 apartment, building. And so we lived on a floor, and so we did that until I graduated from high school. I graduated from Boston Latin Academy, and then I came to UMass Amherst for college. And I was really, I think I was aware of being, I think, Asian in this country. The first day I stepped out of the bus, going to the elementary school, I think in first grade there. And I was called a chink by this boy, this older kid. And I didn't know what, I had no context, no reference, no definition for what that was. But he just, just ran up on me sort of and just called me a chink. And so that was
Well,
pretty interesting.
isn't that supposed to be a derogatory term for a Chinese person?
Right, right. So, and so then I went to we moved to Boston, to Dorchester, and then it was a black boy that said that to me. You know, almost first day
Are
of
you
school
serious?
at that yeah.
Are you? Oh my God.
Yeah, and so as a young person, it's like, damn, okay, what's going on, you know? And then, you know, it wasn't until later on in my high school year that someone introduced me to like multicultural education and Asian American studies. And I began to learn about the history of this country and different people and all that stuff. So, and Eurocentric education and how, you know, I was all caught up in that and how we really needed to decolonize our mind and the miseducation that we were receiving. So that was my a bit about my journey into consciousness and the work of racial justice and community and trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with the United States and how it treats its people.
I want to say good luck figuring that out. Um, because I mean, it's well, you know, I mean, there's some people I talk to and I gotta like figure out whether or not they understand what I'm saying. But I know you know. I know you know how deep this madness goes. I've seen you fight for your family, you know, in this country, um, which is one of the most impressive fights I've ever seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? And thank you for allowing me to be there for part of that. Um, what what influences you? Like who have your male, female? Who have
Mhm.
your greatest influences?
Malcolm X and Yuri Kochiyama. Those are my go-to people.
Why?
Because
And
they both address my need and desire to see um, coalition building, you know, solidarity, partnership, friendship, understanding just selflessness and giving and wanting real change for people because, you know, suffering was just unacceptable reality and therefore you needed to do something about it. And those were two individuals that I came across that did something about it and pretty much dedicated their lives to it and did it very well.
what have been your greatest accomplishments?
I mean, I think there have been so many different struggles as you know, this is women's history, but like becoming, you know, a mother, a wife, those comes with, you know, and then surviving in this economy, in this capitalism, you know, and not having a lot of money or protection or having to find your own safety net, having to find resources to survive, to feed your family, to house your family, um, to fight the system, to to adequately protect you or to, you know, so I think these accomplishments, the more meaningful ones and the more important ones are the invisible ones that we fight. Um, of course, there's the outside struggle that people see. And so that's been important to to marry into my husband's family, and to learn from his mom who passed last year, due to inadequate, you know, healthcare system here in this country. Um, I learned a lot about love, um, about struggle and perseverance through her. Of course, I learned through my parents and my mom, you know, especially, but I developed a really close relationship with Ed's mom, and she taught me a lot. And you know, whatever comforts that we have been able to eke out is as a result of her guidance and her support. So the but the accomplishment that I think that we all are sort of have experienced, I think that you were a part of would be, you know, the Justice for Charles campaign and putting myself in the struggle, because, you know, I love my husband and this is was important to him. And I didn't understand why this nephew of his who seemed to be getting into trouble, you know, why he would fight so hard for his young nephew. And for me, I was called upon to just help to read, you know, I had a college education. So I began to read these court papers, right? These trial papers, the discovery and all those things. And I learned so much from that experience of being inside of a courtroom, of being inside of a courthouse, period, and seeing so many Black people inside, you know, young people, older people, you know, the Latinx community in there. And I was just, you know, it was a real education for me. And then so this was a struggle to get somebody out of a there was a murder conviction and a sentence of a life without the possibility of parole sentence. And so sitting in like 2 murder trials taught me a lot. And the first one, when people were breaking for Thanksgiving, you know, you saw the white attorneys and the white judge talk about their schedule and their vacation plans or Thanksgiving plans. And then here we are as a family, like with our loved one, you know, incarcerated, not being able to leave, you know, and jail while he was waiting, you know, while he was on trial. And so that was a big education. And then going in to visit him with his girlfriend and daughter at the jail, at Ludlow jail, was eye-opening because I saw so many young kids, you know, they're visiting their loved ones. So that left a big impression on me. And of course, you know, I really felt like I think a lot of people who fight, sometimes we feel like, what can we actually, like, this is wrong. Like we're in existence, but this is wrong. But we're living in this, you know, theater. And how can it be possible that we can treat people like this or mistreat people like this, right? Or how we can exist like this. And so at one point I was like, I can jump off a building and try to like make a statement, you know, because I protest this. But I didn't choose that route. And I chose a lesser, you know, extreme action, which was to just organize. I used, you know, my background and education around workplace organizing, union organizing, labor youth organizing, to use. And I knew that our power was in the collective and in community. And as a family, I mean, you fight for your family, you know. So we took it to that level, and we just were very fortunate to have people who had some experience with struggle help us in the campaign, and we put ourselves out there, and we did what we had to do, you know. And then, you know, there's always this. So I haven't done a whole bunch, Maurice. You know, there's hiatus. I think deserve a time to break, and you know, sometimes we don't do it voluntarily. Sometimes that happens upon us. So yeah, so I'm born in 74, so I'm getting up there in age. But right now I can say I'm having a good time.
You're still young.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm working on this campaign for a friend of mine. We served on the Amherst Regional School Committee together, and he's moved to South Hadley, Mass, and he's running for select board, and the elections is April 13th. So he asked me to be his treasurer, and so I accepted immediately. And that's what you do for your brother, and we've been in the trenches together and on the school committee. And so it was an easy decision. His mother-in-law is like a good friend of mine, and so his family and children, we've grown up together in this community, you can say. So yeah.
Didn't you also hold office?
Right. I was on the school committee, the Amherst school committee. Like Trevor and I, we were vilified. We were like, oh, these two people are like, some real estate agent, was like, wrote us and wrote everybody on the committee and was like, these two people are responsible for destroying Amherst. So yeah, so we fought, and also, Aisha Hiza, Black woman who I was running for state rep, and I was like, do I support this woman who just got banned from her school because her daughter's school because she was advocating against bullying, of her child, and the superintendent banned her, and I was, really debating, I'm running for state rep. Do I come out to support this woman, and I'm on the school committee, mind you. But I did. I asked myself the question, and I chose to be with Aisha, and that was the right choice. And I stand by it. I stand by Aisha. Yeah. And Aisha's in South Hadley now, so there's one vote for Trevor.
And you say that you haven't done a lot, but you do a lot. You just talked about putting your personal, your own life, on the line, to do what's just, and what's right, and so that right there, I mean, that's a whole lot. There's so many people in our communities who refuse to do the right thing because they can personally be impacted by the decision to do the right thing, and I applaud you for that. That's incredible, that you made that decision. So
It's a fine line, when you speak your truth, it's a fine line because you're going to offend people, and I pick on people who have power. So it's, I select the people who I go after, and, it's, it's to be expected, and people need to be confronted, with the decisions they make or don't make. And I think that's important to do, is to speak up.
As a woman, and being an activist, being involved in struggles, what has your experience been as a woman?
Well, when I think everything collides, your what you look like, your gender, your race, all those things, that's a presentation. And I think as people of color, you sort of, I think to navigate the world and to be safe, right? To protect yourself, you have to know what you're walking into, what you may be presented with. And I think that when we let our guard down, I think that's when we sometimes get hurt, right? Or we walk into a situation and we're confronted with something else. But I think sometimes when, like I right now I serve on the Asian American Commission, and we're predominantly women, and so I don't think I'm always in the mix of a lot of men, I think, in doing this work, and the work that I do right now professionally, for income, for wages, is I work at an adult day health center, which is a total shift of like the nonprofit work that I've been involved in earlier in my career. But yeah, so that's also like, I have a female boss, I've never really had a male boss, I don't think, at least maybe at the top level at this particular organization, but otherwise I've been in situations where there have been a lot of women, you know, around me. And I think for me, it's important to be, I never understood the importance of mentorship, you know, because no one really took me aside to mentor me into any particular path. Um, you know, I was part of a mentorship program once upon a time, but that was it. And that was so alien to me. But as an adult now, as a more, you know, up there in age, I make it a point to be a support to other young women who are trying to climb the professional ladder or whatever, and um, to be a source of inspiration and instill confidence in them that they don't see themselves initially. I think it's very rewarding to be able to do that. And I also have a daughter who is 17. She's a senior at high school. She's going to be in college in the fall. And I would want something like that to happen for my daughter. Of course, when, you know, at one time I was interning for a labor union, and I think work, like when you're in the work site, when you're dealing with people, and you're a young woman, of course, you're going to get people who maybe hit on you and, you know, and treat you they just see you as a female to talk to, or to, you know, to try to get somewhere with. And that was, you know, I think that's something that, you know, I don't want necessarily my daughter to experience, you know, but that is, you know, what it is. And I think that's why we need to get in there to provide education. I mean, and that's your work too, Maurice, is to be in front of people and to talk about how we're socialized and how we need to deconstruct some of that, and what it means to be, how do we coexist, you know, in this world together.
I do my best with all the flaws that I have. I definitely do my best. You know, especially with like the celebrating the Women's History Month. One of the some of the guidelines I put down was that as men, one, we cannot validate what the interviewers say during Women's History Month. The only thing we can do is ask questions for clarity. And the reason why I set those guidelines is because a lot of times men feel like we have to validate women. You know what I'm saying? If we don't agree with it, it's not okay. You know, that doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And then the other aspect was to just sit with what we're listening to and what we're hearing. You know, and if we have to have a discussion, then we can have it amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, that says to the brothers, like, yo, like, sit with it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to make a comment. We don't have to make a comment. So that's part of my way of like doing that work, you know, of, you know, getting brothers to see that like we need to be more supportive rather than, you know, judgmental, you know, of women in our communities and stuff like that. So I do have a question for you. What are the issues that you feel that are prevalent between men and women? And what are some of the things that you feel that the women of our communities need from the men of our communities? I asked us two questions.
Hmm.
I know they're very.
I think that
know
was a lot.
Yeah.
What do we need from the men in our community?
Yeah.
You know, I think is more, and I think I'm talking from a very personal experience with the men in my life, you know, and I think that being, sometimes I think people don't share their experiences because they think it's too painful for their loved ones to hear, behold, right? And I think women who love their men want to be able to understand and know, you know, the person that they're in love with. Because you have to get to the root of all things, you know, and when we have, you know, it's something called dynamics, and if we don't address those things, I think, you know, it causes, you know, communication problems, right? And I think it stunts your growth, you know, as a human being, because to be able to confront your pain and your struggle and your story is to be able to, I think, hold and honor yourself, you know, and the person that was grieved or pained, you know, earlier in your life. I don't know. I'm speaking in a lot of generalities too, but I think that the mental health community needs a lot of infusion of people, of BIPOC people who um, come from real struggle and real life lived experiences. And that's not happening. You know, the people who are attending school because having their, you know, doctorate in whatever psychology or psychotherapy or being, you know, they don't come and they don't hail from our places, our experiences of real pain and struggle. And I think if more people get into those fields, I think it's better for our communities to be able to move and to be freer, right? And so yeah, so I think yeah, I think that's one of the things is to get help and to seek help. But, you know, there really aren't that many qualified or competent people out there to be able to help people, you know, in a really understanding way, that's maybe effective. I mean, I think there are people that exist. They're not too many. And it's still like a white field, you know, people who help people through their issues, therapists and all that. That's what I'm talking about.
You know what? I didn't even imagine that being the answer to the question, and I loved your answer. Like it got so much more deeper than, you know, what I could have thought. So I really appreciate your answer. And it makes sense. It makes so much sense. You know, if you don't know the person that right next to you, you don't know how to help them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so I actually appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really do. Is there anything that I haven't asked
Mm.
that you will want people to know about you?
Ooh, like, oh, I think everybody knows that I'm a very sensitive, emotional person. And I can be very determined. But I don't know. I think that, you know, I live my life a little bit on Facebook. So, I mean, you know, people know when I'm angry or mad at something or, you know, like my current status sometimes. But I mean, when you do this work, like I'm an introvert by, you know, like that's my most comfortable place. Like I can really stay there. But I don't know if I didn't meet my husband, I wouldn't have been able to be out there the way you know, have been moving the way I have externally in the community and all of that. So, but I can be a very mean, evil bitch. Let's say that. Or maybe people do know, but I don't know. Maybe not everybody knows that. Because you know, I can switch it up. You know what I'm saying? I can switch it up to fit the mood or the setting.
So the last thing I want to ask you about is the killing of Asian people. How has that impacted you, and what do you think we can do?
Yeah.
Well, so let me can I fuse the two? Because for as long as I've been alive, I've always, you know, the tension between Asian communities and Black communities. Now I know there are people such as yourself and your husband who've been very successful and, you know, getting into this loving and caring relationship, and you guys have a beautiful family. but there is also this rift between Asian and Black communities. But at the same time, we're in this country and we're all Asian people going through this madness where they're being killed, Black people going through this madness.
Mm-hmm.
How do we deal with this stuff? And what do you say about, what are your feelings about these
it makes my stomach sick, right? It makes my stomach sick. Like, and it's, I don't know if scaffolding is the right term to how I am processing things. But when I initially heard it in the news, I'm like, okay, I can't really go there and read into that or learn more about that because that's just jarring. And then later on, next day, you know, I learned more about it. And then your reaction, your bodily reaction. I mean, I was driving, I was crying, and it's the same like feeling I had for like Charles Wilhite when he was in prison in like maximum security prison. And most recently, you know, just driving on the highway and just having this gush of tears, you know, of emotion. And then Breonna Taylor, like, why was her life snuffed out like that, you know? Like, no fucking good reason. And then this shit happens in Atlanta, and it's like, as Asians, you know, I wanted, and living in fucking Western Mass, I don't know, it just is jarring, right? Go to the protest with a bunch of white people, you know? And there's gonna be all these protests and vigils or whatever, Zoom and all this, and I just feel like after all that is done, like, what are we actually gonna be doing? You know, I want people, I respect and love the people who do the work quietly, silently, behind closed doors. I want people to make decisions that don't make the headlines, you know? That if you're the boss or if you have some fucking power, you lend a fucking hand, you open the fucking door. You know, you let people in. You step back. You put your shit on the line. You know, that's what I want to see happen. I want more Asian Americans to be speaking up for Black Lives Matter, you know? Like this is never has it been about a one-way street, you know? Like there's so much in history that we can draw upon about Black Asian solidarity. You know, we've done this before. You know, we need to learn that history because there, you know, it's intentional that we don't know about those things, right? It's intentional that we don't know about the friendship of Malcolm and Yuri, right?
Before you continue, I have to ask this question. Would you be willing to do a workshop with me on that? A virtual workshop?
I have to say no to you now. No, no, no. I will. I know we've been wanting to do things together, but I will, because you know I think I'm stuck with you because you were there when I was in a very low moment of seeking help, and I was calling a rise for social justice, and Ellen Graves was like, call Maurice Taylor, and you're like, who gave you my name? You know, and you were telling me, basically, you were telling me the outcome of, you know, after all this is said and done, and even if we did this, you know, this will happen. And so, you know, you were there when I was literally trying to find anyone to talk to, and so to get advice from, and you were there. So of course I owe that to you forever. Thank you.
You don't owe me anything. You owe me nothing. That is, you know, what we should all expect from each other. That is the human thing to do. You know, I'm glad you won. You know, my heart was when I found out that Charles was out, you know, I was ecstatic, you know, and I will always be grateful to your family for doing that work, because I know that was for your nephew, but that was also for all the Black people that are being imprisoned unjustly, to know that you can't get justice if you fight. And here's this case right here. These are people that actually know that fought and won. So yes, you can get justice. So thank you.
Thanks, Maurice.
I want to thank you for allowing me to interview you. I really appreciate it. And feel free to pop in any Friday night, listen to some poetry. I normally do one interview, but I had to do two tonight because, I'll be honest with you, like I really didn't feel like any Asian people would be interested in coming on. You know what I mean? I haven't had any great history with Asian people, and I've always felt that Asian people hate us, and then so when I first started seeing, I saw this one video of this black kid running to this old Asian guy because he was old, and I was like, guy's a punk. Like, yo, that's just totally wrong, right? And I decided then that I was gonna reach out to Asian people, what I'm saying, purposely to bridge this, to create some sort of bridge, but to address the issues that are there and work on creating a bridge, and then with these shootings that were happening, and it just made sense, like, you know what, who do I know? And let's intentionally, you know, bring Asian people into this, you know what I'm saying? And let us have these conversations and let us really connect with each other. And then I was like, is Vera Asian? I think Vera Asian.
Yes, I am.
I was like, I know an Asian person that does a lot of work, you know what I'm saying? Is I'm mad cool with. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to reach out to you and highlight you as an Asian woman who has done a lot of work in our communities and who is a bridge between the Asian and Black community. So, thank you. I mean, and you do it because you love who you love, you know what I'm saying? And you love his family. And, that's amazing. And I always say to Black people, we need to live beyond these boxes that we're put in, you know what I'm saying? And we need to live beyond being Black, you know what I'm saying? And living beyond the color of our skin, which was created, this concept of race was created by white men. We need to outside of those, if we want to truly be human beings, we need to live outside those constructs, you know what I'm saying? And so, I do appreciate you and I appreciate your family.
Well, we have a common enemy. 3, capitalism, militarism, and white supremacy.
Word up. Exactly. So thank you so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. What we're going to do is, I want you to give us a topic, and what we're going to do, we're going to play some music, and we're going to write a poem on a topic that you give us. And we're going to come back after listening to some music, and we're going to read our poetry. So if you would be willing to give us a topic, what topic would that be?
Taxi. TAXI, taxi.
Toxicity?
No, taxi, like a cab, taxi.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it just popped up in my head.
And here I was thinking you was going to give us something real deep.
No, you can take any word and
Oh no, you gave us taxi. You gave us taxi. We're gonna go with taxi. So just to, to go with taxi as a topic, have you had any have you ridden in a taxi? Like, is there a experience that you remember being in a taxi?
No, I think you should use it in a way just use it in a deeper, you can use it as part of a part of something.
Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna Sippy, Sean, Jerry, y'all there? Come on, chime in. Taxi, y'all ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Jerry,
Yeah.
you ready?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Well, the word is taxi. Given to us by Vera, and we're gonna get it in. We're gonna
Okay,
play
that's cool.
music.
So that's just to make sure I'm clear here. Taxi, TAXI, correct? Taxi cab.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Good work with that.
I was like, toxicity.
No, taxi.
All righty. Here we go. Yo, I love playing this music by this brother T Swan. This is motivation. Hmm.
What's your purpose? It's you working on your purpose. What's your priority? Priorities? Tell me the first. You know, where you proclaim you belong to, where the fish out that you claim you strong. Went to the phone to the day that I fall, and I'm raising the pole with my name on the wall. And facing, we want to be famous and all. But look what these flames seem to run. What makes me the one when there's so many enemies that hold the same dream? The sun, not with the same scheme. On my name, my words different. It's first finish when we're playing. Everything you've been missing out. Listen, I'm in the world with my values already. Listen, since the wounds I had a lesson. It's a blessing that I'm still here. And I'm shit. Gotta have some ambition. Almost time to be listening. You can tell I'm starting. I'm listening. I'm just what's the my error without an error? You ain't I'm perfect, but I'll see what I'm pushing for. And I'll be looking towards the future. Only you gotta decide for you. All the emotions that reside in here. Your shit. That's your motivation. I gotta go and get it. I ain't sitting around and waiting. What's your dreams? What's your plans? Tell me how you gonna get it. Tell me what's your motivation. What's your ambition? And leave a shine on the kid was part of me. Wanna wait right now. The time I'm taking my time. Keep it pushing. Gotta have that motivation. 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 I'm hungry to be great. And I know this from the start. That these cowards, they got no help, homie. They need makes supposedly make. But what's mental, no respect, no regret, no respect. To me, that's like no success. Who's up next? Oh, that's me. So happy. But I know that I got a smile. Sound like when you so what damn to say that it's not my time. Sitting in the back, sitting in the back, but you don't down when it's rap. Everybody wanna spit, so I'm gonna come on. We said that shouldn't do that because my motivation without it, can you get it? I'm celebrating the type of fact that I'm so determined about it. To the riches, right as far as it takes me, it's ironic, but I love it when they underestimate me. That's the fuel of my fire. I aspire to inspire my fellow peers to be higher and never settle for less. You gotta go out and get it, man. The world is your playground, and when you rock the house, you better rock it all up. Yeah, this shit, yeah, that's your motivation. Yeah, I gotta go and get it. I ain't sitting around and waiting. What's your dreams? What's your plans? Tell me how you gonna get it. Tell me what's your motivation. Yeah, shit, ambition. Yeah, believe I'll shine on the kid was mine. I'm need to wait right now. The time I'll take my time. Keep it pushing. Gotta have that motivation. 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 Yeah, this goes out to the point with the dreams. What's the dream? If you wish you gotta have that motivation. Yeah, this goes out to that girl with aspirations. What's the dream? If you wish you gotta have that motivation. This goes out to the boy with the dreams. What's the dream? If you wish you gotta have that motivation. Yeah, you gotta have motivation. Yeah. What do they do? Is there a government? Of course, there's a government. There's always a government during a bunker or a plane. There's no government, no police, no army, TV, radio, electricity. Everybody put your ones up, put your ones up, put your ones up for one love. Everybody put your ones up, put your ones up, put your ones up for one love. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing my talents, return to the source, sitting in silence around the world, or the people are wild while they wilding, y'all. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing my talents, return to the source, sitting in silence around the world, or the people are wilding on a tightrope like a balancing act, moving forward, never looking back, subtract negative, stay positive, black, only God can judge you, and that's a fact now. Moving like this and moving like that. The movement brings light to places that lack darkness around you, busting the gas. Find divinity in you. Love is where it's at, my man. Gotta do what you can, my man. Did it for his fam, and then my man took freedom by his hand. My man proved who was the bigger man. Make a stand, but don't forget to make a plan. Make a plan, but don't forget to make it green. Rick and Brand, the turntable scratch with my hand. Chuck Deuces, peace producers of a stand now. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing our talents, return to the source, sitting in silence around the world, warn the people of they're wilding, y'all. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing our talents, return to the source, sitting in silence around the world, warn the people of wilding. On the hottest block, on the hottest summer, young gunner, twin loaded Glocks, trying to feed the hunger star before it takes you underwalk the path of beauty and wonder. God fought with math, music and thunder. Signs of life, lions locked behind eyes and kites, bright letters with tears, saying prayers at night, juggling, wondering when the struggle will end, working one too many jobs, trying to make them ends. Lord have mercy, God, I'm worthy. Bring water full of knowledge, my thoughts are thirsty. Put things said and don't be bare. Put them form. Okay, sí, por casa no ven vive the unidad y más acredita in your palabra, young sister with the fly figure, recognize and you rise as you realize beauty lies inside, take a picture. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing my talents, return to the source, sitting in silence around the world, war the people while they're wilding, y'all. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing my talents, return to the source, sitting in silence around the world, war the people while not everybody put your ones up, put your ones up for one love, your ones up for one love. Everybody put your ones up, put your ones up, put your ones up for one love. Everybody keep your ones up, keep your ones up, keep your ones up for one love. Everybody put your ones up, put your ones up, put your ones up for one love in the front, y'all. Put your ones up for one love in the back, y'all. Put your ones up for one love to the left, y'all. Put your ones up for one love to the right, y'all. Put your ones up for one love, one love, one love, one love, one love. That's what we need, y'all. One love, one love, one love. One love, it's unity, yeah. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing my talents, return to the source, singing in silence around the world, for the people of Walla, what they want, yeah. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing my talents, return to the source, singing in silence around the world, for the people of Walla, everybody put your ones up, put your ones up for one love, put your ones up for one love, everybody put your ones up, put your ones up, put your ones up for one love, everybody put your ones up, keep your ones up, put your ones up for one love. Everybody put your ones up, put your ones up, put your ones up for one love. The balance to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, stressing my silence, return to the source, sitting in silence around the world, for the people who find what they want in y'all. The challenge is to keep the balance, stay sane in this world, expressing my silence, return to the source, sitting in silence around the world, for the people who find everybody put your ones up, put your ones up for one love, put your ones up for one love. Everybody put your ones up. Keep your ones up, keep your ones up for one love. Everybody put your ones up, put your ones up, put your ones up for one love. Everybody put your ones up, put your ones up, put your ones up for one love. One love, one love, one love, one love. Good job. One love, one love, one love, one love. This is the team, y'all. Glad to be alive to this moment. Take control of my life because I own it. Have to go make a move, stay focused in this life. In this life, life, glad to be alive to this moment. Take control of my life because I own it. Have to go make a move, stay focused in this life. It's life, destiny, it's the best of me. High frequency of my weaponry. This reality, principality. I and I sold up, right side, many needs. I love them, like I love the seven seas. I love them, like the best memories. This moment, beyond fantasies, like the hush, made by trees, the leaves, flutter in the breeze. Silent like this beat, without color speech. So you need to let go of my ego and let this moment breathe. I'm so thankful, so grateful today. I'm a late no or a sky blue, a yellow bright halo. Balance in stereo. To be alive, it's a slow man. Take control of my life, it's a own it. Have the fun, make a dream, stay focused in this life. In this life, glad to be alive, it's a slow man. Take control of my life, it's a own it. Have the fun, make a dream, stay focused in this life. In this life. Fall. To the taste of these weeds. Fall. I was born to lead. I know what it takes. Looking at my dreams. I know you believe to a 180. Swim it upstream. Look up for the light. Dog see the beam. Ticket for the fish. Break the blue tree. I feel like the blue change. Just be chance. The only one control of me. I'm the 201. You ain't got to agree. I ain't got another choice, so I got to be incarcerated so long. I'm so glad to be free. Watch out. So y'all, I'm not. Don't doubt. Don't pay my own rent. Don't buy. Let's don't let me be alive, it's a slow man. Take control of my life, it's own it. I've been going making moves, staying focused in this life. Just life, glad to be alive, it's a slow man. Take control of my life, it's own it. I've been going making moves, staying focused in this life. This life. I got a nice life. I got a shine light, giving thanks in the morning, picking up from the night, take a chance to advance with this moment is right, and I dance with the glance that you gave me to the light. I thank you, my life, but I'm married with the right. I hold on stage, flying like a kite. Music is my wings. Watch a stage flight with a swim go snap, reaching new heights. Now I'm glad to be alive. Slow man, take control of my life. Slow man, I've been fun, making moves, staying focused in this life. In this life, glad to be alive. Slow man, take control of my life. Slow man, having fun, making moves, staying focused in this life. In this life. This life. In this. Stay focused. Yeah, in this life. In this moment. Take control, y'all. Your life. Manifest your dreams. Wake up in the morning, give thanks. Yes. 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 This life in this earth. Yes. Steady. Corey Jones. Ian Nemo. Calvin Grace. The Everest. Tim West. That's Ted G. Rotary Record Studio.
All right, y'all. Y'all ready? What's up?
I'll start.
Get it. My brother Sean. Hey, where you at, man? You ain't on video. Come on, Sean.
Yeah, I gotta fix my camera still.
Oh, you said that last week, right? Yo, we're gonna pass the hat for Sean. No, I'm just messing with you, bro.
All right, you guys are ready?
Yes, sir. Get it.
All right. Topic of the poem, Taxi. Where am I going next? What's the plan? Where's the move? I don't know, but I know I'm going for a mysterious ride. A ride, even I don't know where it's going to take me. I want something new, something different, something adventurous. All right, it's decided. I'm gone. Off I go with both 2 feet. Move, walk, step. 1, 2. Walking to the spot to catch my surprise. Taxi, taxi, please. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sippy, what you got? What you got, Sippy? What you got?
Tack.
Hold on. Can you get on camera so we can see? So we can see?
My camera's broke.
Here we go.
Taxi. To have. Level elevation far here.
Your audio. Did everybody? Was her audio clear to everybody else?
I heard half of it.
I'll try to,
Give it, Sippy. Give it a minute.
It was breaking up for me. I couldn't really hear it.
Yeah, your audio is breaking up. That was happening to me too, but after a minute, it kind of caught up. So, all right, go ahead, try it again.
testing. Taxi. Can you take me to the future? I place one needs to hide. Never mind those will have to heal. Yeah. There. What's all creation?
Can we come back to you, Sippy? All right, thank you. Jerry, what do you got?
I'm not ready.
Bruh. You gotta stop where you at and read what you got. All right, I'm gonna go and then you can go after me. How's that? Jerry? Taxi. 1894, an early English form of taximeter used in horse-drawn cabs. 1898, from French taximeter, from German taximeter. 1890, coined from medieval Latin taxa, tax charge. 1907, shortening of taximeter cab introduced in London in March 1907 from taximeter automatic meter to record the distance and fare. 1930, taxi dancer, woman whose services may be hired at a dance hall, is recorded from. 1966, taxi squad in U.S. football said to be from a former Cleveland Browns owner who gave his reserve jobs with his taxi company to keep them paid and available. A mode of transportation. I never had to hail a taxi, but I waited for hours on the block before the days before cell phones, running back and forth to the booth. For some, it's a sign of wealth. For others, it's inconvenience. My first ride in New York City taxi, I thought I had arrived. Holding to the handle, flying around the corner, stop, I hop out, following the leader. Hopefully to success, only to find out my energy was hit. Only to find out my energy was his taxi to another income bracket. Come the day he had no more need for us, let us out on society's curb after so many promises. I'm finished. I felt like I paid too much for this ride. Taxi. Sippy!
No, one test. Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Ready? Wait. Taxi. You take this I mean to knowing yeah, right here. Right here.
Not know what's going on. All right. No, usually your connection is good. I'm not sure what's happening today.
Okay.
It's all right. Thank you. Hey, Vera, did you write something?
I did, just in case. Racial justice is like hailing a taxi in a rough neighborhood. Never a call back. So you sit back and cancel your plan. Maybe you'll walk. The talk you have inside your mind, an internal dialogue, questioning your place. Who to blame? I'm an amateur.
What? Are you kidding me? That was dope. So you coming back next Friday to read some more or what? What's going on?
I might, because that is something I want to develop. So you may find me.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope.
I wonder if Sippy can just put her poem in the chat.
Sure. Word. Sippy. Is that a is that
We'll just have to hear it next week.
Let me mute my mic, Sippy, and see if that helps. Go ahead. Can you speak? Yeah. I love the way it sounds though. It's very creative though. Jerry.
I got
Elder Jerry.
I got another poem, Maurice, so I can give them some time.
Okay, yeah, cool. Go for it, man. I need
Bro,
a few more minutes.
No, Jerry, you're not getting this special attention tonight. Absolutely not, Jerry. Stop, put your pen down, and read what you got, Jerry. You know the rules.
But what I got, it's not getting to the core. It's not getting to the core. I'll read it. I'll read it, but it's not getting to the core. Okay, here we go.
Read what you got.
All right. In the beginning, there was the man, James Brown, the godfather of soul. It's a man's world, he said. It's a man's world, he sang, and the band played on. And all the while, we sang and danced and embraced the rhythm and the beat and the groove and the man and the message. It's a man's world. But long before JB, there was CC. Coco, whose empire and fortune and fame is legend. And that legend's legacy is many-fold and enduring and pervasive. Now comes the taxi. Yeah, the taxi can take you uptown or to the airport, but on the tarmac, the plane rolls into place. To taxi is to get into place, to align on the path to taking off. It's the prelude to flight time. Now that's as far as I got, but it's not connecting those two or getting to the woman's history piece of it,
bruh,
which is another stanza down. So
bruh.
it sounds like it's disjointed, but there's a flow that's yet to come. But that's all I got for right now.
Bruh, bruh, bruh. That was dope. That was dope.
Yeah, and just as a quick blurb, CC is Coco Chanel, of the Chanel #5 empire. So that's just kind of give you a general sense of where it's going. But anyway, that's all I got so far.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Oh, y'all showed up tonight. Y'all showed up. Some of y'all showed out. You know what I mean? Yo, Vera. Listen, Vera, you surprised me, yo. I ain't think you gonna come out like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? She been writing for like the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? She brought one of those short ones and was like, pow. I was like, oh, damn. All right, yo, she brought the social justice with the taxi, on point with the metaphors and the similes. Word. Okay, I see. You know what I'm saying? Now I got to go finish mine, and I'm sure Jerry's got to go finish his, and we're going to come back next week, Vera, with our finished poems on taxi, and then see what you got. How about that? Miss Terry Reynolds just popped in. Now, y'all know Miss Reynolds got this voice, right? She be trying to hide sometimes, acting like, you know what I'm saying, her voice and all that. But we know different, right? I know one day she's going to charge me for, you know, coming out to the open mics and singing, because I'd be like, Miss Reynolds, where you go? Where you at? She's like, boy, if you don't leave me alone. I was like, please, it ain't the same without you. Like, pay me. Like, take 2 zeros. No, sir, man. How you been doing, Terry?
I'm all right. I got stuck away with my daughter, so we out here at the Walmart in Chicopee. She inside shopping, so I'm hanging out. It's all good.
For some reason,
Better late than never.
For some reason, we're having a lag tonight. Is my voice lagging? Just curious. No? All right.
Yeah, it's coming in and out.
Wow.
Not on my end, but.
Okay.
But you all right.
Miss Terry.
Hey, you know, I could tell you, I just want to tell you that I do some of my best writing in the parking lot of Walmart in Chicopee.
I know y'all
cranked out
not here promote Walmart.
I cranked out a few poems in that parking lot.
I believe it. I believe it.
Walmart can kiss my butt. How about that?
It's inspirational.
Okay. I need to find a different store to go to and stop and slay.
It's a lot of good material for poems.
Y'all need to stop and slay. It ain't even black folk. Everybody in Walmart should be
it is. It is.
And don't even let me hear y'all going to Home Depot.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna ban y'all from here if y'all going to Home Depot.
Hey man, Walmart is at the core of the Black experience, bro.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Walmart is at the core of Black rationality. That's what it is.
Tell me what Black person has not shopped at Walmart, bro.
Bro. That's the damn problem. See,
Walmart is ground zero, bro.
Black Lives Matters, right? But you're going to Walmart? Okay.
Look, it's an inspiration. Walmart
It
is an
is.
inspiration, okay?
It absolutely is.
So
Did you say Walmart's an inspiration?
Yes, I did.
Walmart
Like I got
is
stuff
one
going
big.
through my head now.
What the hell is happening? What do you, okay,
Walmart is one big. It's one big prompt. It's a writing prompt.
I think I'm misunderstanding y'all. But that's okay. I don't need to
Oh,
understand.
you'll be all right.
I don't need to understand. You know, I learned.
I got words going through my head. I'm sitting here looking at the traffic.
Oh,
No, but seriously, I'm sitting here looking at the traffic go by. And I got words in my head. Watching the traffic go by. Watching the
Now,
people
when you say
walk.
traffic, you talk about the people going in and out, right?
Seriously.
y'all lost me. Terry, can you sing us some of those words that are going through your head? Oh, she done see what happens when you use that Walmart signal? Drops the gas. Hey Sean, you said you got another poem. Go ahead, bro.
All right, let's do it. All right, so this one.
Sorry, guys, I gotta go rescue my daughter. So I will see you on the next go round, okay, Maurice?
Oh wait, before you go, can
Blessings.
you sing some of those words?
If you were like me, you would fly high and free. Yeah, if you were like me, you would be so free. On my way through, catching on the breeze, flying high. You will wanna be with me. I gotta go. My daughter's crying, man. I gotta get in the store. Gotta find her. I don't know where she is.
Give your daughter a hug for me.
I will. I will try and make it next Friday. I keep trying. Today I was supposed to, but I didn't make it. All right, y'all.
Thank you. I appreciate
I like that tune. I like that tune.
You do? Thank you.
What?
Yeah. Hey, how
talk.
do you know your daughter's crying?
She just called me, and she says,
"Oh, okay. All right. Well, then we'll catch you next week."
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate you popping in.
"Yes,
Your audio.
anytime, sir."
Thank you so much.
Thanks. You're welcome. Love you.
Love you too. Wow, did y'all hear that voice? What, is it just me? It wasn't just me, was it? Come on, y'all, speak up.
We heard it. I heard it.
My goodness. Dang.
I wrote her name down, so I'm gonna find her.
I'll send a message to both of y'all, Vera.
That's great.
That was so amazing. I want to thank you all for coming through tonight. Sippy, Jerry, Sean, Vera, Terry, T-Win, interviewed T-Win earlier, who's from Vietnam, came here as a refugee. We interviewed Vera Cage. You say Laos, Vera?
You can say Lao. Lao.
Lao.
Lao.
Came from Lao. Man, I hate messing up names, man, because I know people are graceful in front of my face, but behind closed doors cussing me out. And can't say anything. My bad, I apologize. But I'm honored tonight to have had T and Vera on tonight interviewing. Thank you for that poem. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Sippy. Man, it's an honor to be able to have these readings and these conversations throughout Women's History Month. You know, man, you know, we live in a world, in a very imperfect world. You know, it's easy to catch on to the negative, man, and it's hard to ride the positive. You know, but I think these writings are a way to connect with each other and to help us stay connected to the positive energy within each other. And with that, I'm very grateful for you all. Thank you. As a recovering addict, it gives me purpose to look forward to next Friday. You know, and it gives me something to bring to the table. And so I thank you all for giving people like myself something to look forward to. You know, I just lost somebody else through addiction. We lose people through, like Vera was talking about, you know, the healthcare system, which is just, we live in the wealthiest country in the world and we have such a poor health system. The rate of poverty, astronomical. My hope is that we connect with each other and we build an incredible platform where the words of everyday people can be heard and echoed throughout the internet, throughout the country. My hope is that together we can build community businesses, promote community businesses, and encourage people to spend their money within our communities, and encourage those businesses to invest in our communities. That's the hope that I have for Poetic Recovery. So I want to thank you all for connecting. I want to thank the brothers, Sean and Jerry, for listening to the sisters, and encourage us to do whatever we can to be the best brothers we can be to the sisters in our community. And remember, it's okay to be vulnerable. When a sister asks you how you're feeling, open up. Let her know where you're coming from so she knows how to help you. With that, I'm going to go around and ask you all, what are you all planning on doing this week that's coming up? Sean, let's go. What you planning on doing? What's going on?
Just studying.
What you studying, bro?
Yeah.
What you studying, bro?
Just studying.
Studying.
Studying network development.
Okay.
So like kind of like anything to do with like you know, administrative work or like Windows specifically.
Okay. Go ahead, bro. Hurry up so I can get a job. Jerry, what you doing this week?
I am studying as well.
Man, if y'all keep coming out here talking about you studying and don't tell us what you studying, Jerry?
I am studying myself and my environment, and I'm studying how I can move forward. Yeah, so I'm studying possibilities, you know.
All right. Sippy, what you doing this week?
Testing, testing, two.
Fortunately, I didn't know, I couldn't make that out. But I want to encourage everyone to have a successful week. I want to thank you all for coming. Please share this with you. Hello? I can hear the hello, but anything beyond that, it goes out. I want to thank you all for tuning in. For those of you all who are tuning in on the website, thank you all very much. For those of you all who are tuning in on a radio station, you can catch us on www.poeticrecovery.net and go to Poetic Recovery Open Mic. Again, thank you all very much. Celebrate Women's History Month. Keep your head up. Take care. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vera. Thank you all for tuning in. Another successful night of Poetic Recovery. Apologize for the technical difficulties. We will be here next Friday. Peace.